Well, I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody that come here tonight. It means so much to me and to Andy. And I don't think
care.
you can beat a good Western, do you? No, I really don't.
We can't what?
Can't beat a good Western.
Yeah. I think there was some, before we start, I think there was some fairly powerful sort of subject matters there, so, and that's what we wanted to portray. We wanted to sort of it to be quite raw, quite honest, and like I say, get under the skin of Nick. We don't see what's under those leather trousers very often. So,
Well, mind you, you have, haven't you? In our time on the Irish tours, you know,
yeah,
we've had a bit of a giggle.
I'm still having nightmares now.
Your life just gets richer, Andy, doesn't it? More time to spend with me.
Okay, well, that's some water, mate.
I'll have some water.
When you go ahead on the shoot,
Yeah.
and you take, I'm assuming, hundreds of shots, do you actually go and put stuff on a computer and do you actually choose the ones you want to process?
First thing is, I never take hundreds of shots.
Sorry, you take
I always.
professional, yeah.
No, I mean, I know that's the standard norm now. You know, digital. Let's just click 10,000 of the buggers.
I'll
We've got one.
apologise because
You know, forgive me. I don't. That's no dissing people who do that. But I always know what I want.
yeah.
And whatever the shot is, I work it through in my head. Conceptually, I put it together, and I come up with all these ideas and all these things I want to do. And then literally I'll go in, because I usually have carte blanche to do whatever I want to do. The briefs are not as tight now as they used to be when I was in the advertising business, but you know, so, which is one of the reasons why I moved into the music world, because it was creative license in that time. But you know, so I probably on most shoots, whether it be album artwork, promos, whatever it is, live stuff, I'll probably only shoot 50, 60 shots. That's all I do. And then when I know that I've got the one that I want, I just leave. That's it, I'm done. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get anything better, you know. And I know that it's a spiritual thing. I think it's a spiritual thing. You know, I think it's something that because I won't say I'm a religious person, but I'm a big believer in Jesus. Me and my brother was raised like that. You know, I don't try to push that onto people at all. It's just it's how it is with me. You know, everybody has their own kind of views and beliefs or whatever, but my life is a very spiritual one, and I'm a big believer in fate, that everything, you know, is for a reason. So I just kind of had this spiritual thing that says, that's it, I'm done. I've seen it, that's it. I don't know when I've got a face belter, and that's it, I go home, job done.
Right. You've got your face belter, you've got your absolutely first shot that you want, and everything's spot on. Where does the process go from there? So you've got your shot, you've taken it out of your camera,
Yeah,
you put it on, I'm assuming on your computer.
yeah.
Do you do any post-processing and all, you know, and all stuff like that, or do you actually get someone else to do it, telling them what you actually want
No.
to do with the process?
No, I do the whole thing myself, gents. That's because I believe the whole thing from start to finish is a very personal, emotional thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I was in the advertising world, I used retouches and that kind of stuff, processing houses, you know, editing houses a lot. But that was only because the clients and the agencies wanted to do that. But no, for me, you've got to see the whole process from literally conceptual to the end result.
Thank you, mate.
He knows what he wants to shoot before he shoots it. There's no doubt about that. That's my experience of him, because I'm sure he won't mind me saying he's very anal about stuff in terms of how he wants to.
Oh, yeah, no, I am. No, I am.
It is, and obviously that's part of his OCD and all the rest of it. Whereas I'm completely opposite. I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing, and I just wing it. Is that fair?
Well, this guy, he works like stupid speed. Stupid speed. Don't you? You tear about like a mad bastard, and You know, for me, it's a really it's a drawn out process, but I suppose, as Andy said, it's something to do with me OCD. You know, plus the fact that I'm just this side of sane, if I'm honest. You know, but it works. It does what I want it to do, and I don't know any other way of doing it. Really, I really don't. Do I? You know, it's
Well, he's modest, you see, but I mean, obviously he knows what he's doing because he's produced that, doesn't he? So,
Andy. Oh yeah. I mean, I think you've got to salute the guy. I think it's a great film. I think it's a great film.
yeah.
I mean, the subject kicks your face, doesn't it? But you know, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah, you're always talking about you. Okay. I don't give him any slack, by the way.
How do you pick your subject matter, or do you care? Is it just like if somebody comes to you and says, "Oh yeah, take my picture," or do you have things that you want to explore?
Forgive me, is that question to me or Andy?
No, to you, Nick.
Oh right, okay.
He can't see because he's got his dark glasses on. He can't
No,
see
I can
anything.
see. I can see everything, man. I can see everything. The subject matter is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what you're photographing, who you're photographing. It's neither in nor there. It's all about the image. That's what it's about. You know, it's something that I've kind of fought heavy for, and Andy can reinforce this. You know, people like, I don't know, you'll shoot Robert Plant, or you shoot Motorhead or whatever. Oh, fantastic shot. No, it's not. It's possibly a sack of shit. But people look at it and they look through the image and they look at the band. So it's Motorhead. So it's got to be a great shot. It's got to be Robert Plant. It's got to be David Bowie. Rubbish. Absolute bloody bollocks, that is. It's all about the image. So it doesn't matter who you're photographing. And that for me is the representation of a great artist. And that I'm an artist. I'm not a photographer. Photography is purely the medium I use to create the art. And I don't like photography. As the term, as a title, I don't like it. You know, not at all. Not at all. So hopefully that answers your question. So somebody like you, I'd burn your face. You know, we could do some serious shit. You know, but it doesn't matter who it is or what it is. Yeah, it's not got to be a Ferrari. You could photograph the 1962 Mini and make it look like a Ferrari if you've got that, what it takes to produce that art.
Have you had any moments when you sort of genuinely felt quite blown away by a celebrity or someone you photographed, and you sort of genuinely, ooh?
Yeah, there's been one or two because.
That's very kind of you, Nick. I never did.
Well, we know it's you.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through that story again. Yeah, I have. I mean, because I had a very successful career in advertising, above the line, below the line. Advertising, won many awards, shot for the biggest advertising agencies on the planet. On some fantastic campaigns, absolutely fantastic campaigns. I mean, I shot the Liberal election campaign in '92 where they went to the polls. Car accounts, you name it, high-end fashion. But one of the reasons I've moved into the music business, because music has always been second passion to photography and art for me. I've been around it all my life. My dad was, you know, very much into his music, jazz, classical, even some opera, and we were brought up on that, me and my brother, which is where the influence of the music thing comes from. And then I kind of...
I won't turn it off, mate.
Yeah, all right, do that.
It's,
Get hand mic.
Yeah.
Hand mic's behind there.
you carry on.
Yeah, okay. But then when I moved into the music business, which was a creative thing, that's what it was, because I was stifled creatively what I could produce in the advertising business. Stupid budgets, but stupid briefs as well. You know, so I just thought, no, bollocks, I'll sack it off. The advertising business went through a really bad period in the kind of late 80s, 90s. And it kind of fell away and the whole vibe of it changed. So I decided that was it. It was time to do what I wanted to do. But I didn't just want to photograph anybody. I wanted to photograph the people that had influenced, that had made me the person that I am today. You know, my heroes, Rory Gallagher, you know, Steve Marriott, Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, the bands go on, you know. So, yeah, to answer your question, the first time I did something with Robert Plant was at the Cambridge Folk Festival. He was there with his first band, which was called Priory O'Brien. You know, you suddenly find yourself in the same place, literally looking at this guy that had changed your life. And music and bands like that have changed my life without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. And there's been several of them, you know, throughout my time. But I then ended up sitting down having a cup of coffee with them, you know. So Robert Plant definitely. Status Quo would be another one that were a massive. I was a massive Quo fan. Supertramp, again, as I mentioned on the film, that was a serious thing for me because Supertramp was such an influential band. You know, they were in there with Pink Floyd, you know, and it don't come any better than Pink Floyd. You know, so yeah, those three would spring to mind. And the first time I did stuff with Status Quo, fucking hell, man, it was, you know, you got it all going on in your back, in your neck, in your hair, you know, the whole vibe, the whole thing, you know, holy shit. This is the band that you bought Pile Driver, which was an album that literally moved me from a place where I was to another place, you know, and you were there, you was the person selected to do stuff with Status Quo.
Do you think that makes you work better?
Yeah, oh, yeah, but to be honest, Sid, that doesn't really affect it, not that much.
Right.
You know, again, to work with anybody, for me is an honour. And if you could create that face melting image, doesn't matter who it is. Going back to the conversation earlier on about that, it's not about the subject. It's about what you produce.
Hi Nick, it's great to see that you've got a team of people working around you that are giving you tremendous support. I think that's fantastic in this industry.
Thank you, my friend.
But if you were to throw the gauntlet down, are there any key people that you admire and you would like to work with next in the future?
I think one of if you're talking in the music business, the band that I would really like to shoot is Aerosmith, without a doubt, because I think they are the ultimate rock band, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, just everything about them is what it should be. You know, and Tyler, Perry, the whole mix. You know, I mean, obviously there are other bands I would have loved to have shot Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher, first time I saw him, changed my life. Changed my life. AC/DC, first time I saw AC/DC, changed my life. And I've never shot either of them. Rory died, which was a bit of a bark, you know. But you know, I don't know. It's Aerosmith would have to be it for me. Yeah, even though the guys, they're getting old, they're a bit vintage, but they still burn like a bastard.
We talked the other week
Yep.
about that there are no big bands coming up. The music genre has changed.
Yep.
You know, and if you're talking like heavy metal, you know, there is real powerful music, but you know, compare that to Ed Sheeran. How would you photograph him? Would you photograph him in the same
Well,
way?
I'd probably through a window. You know, as I was flying over him, going somewhere good and interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's very good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. I mean, I saw the year he headlined Glastonbury, and you know, to do a show of that kind of size, that's big shit. You know, and he could do it. There's no question about it. He could do the job. It's not my genre at all. I don't think, again, going back to, you know, although the genre is different, but take Aerosmith, you know, if they were having a shit, you could produce a fucking good picture. Ed Sheeran, you could spend 5 years with a bloke and you'd be wasting your bloody time. You know, he's a student, isn't he? That's what he is. You know, but he's a clever guy, you know, and he's very good. But it's it's clean. It's clean. Unfortunately, the music business is clean now, and it needs people like Tyler. You know, it needed people like Lemmy and people like that to move a line. Even Lydon, the Pistols, you know, they had something to say.
On a similar line to the question been asked recently, of all the, I mean, you've photographed the greats, Roger, Daltrey, Plant, all these fantastic artists. Is there one who's no longer with us that you would think that is the one person I would love to photograph?
Rory Gallagher.
Rory Gallagher.
Totally.
Yeah. Not Sid Barrett.
Because, well, early Floyd, although I've been a massive Floyd fan since the early days,
Yeah.
but the psychedelic vibe of them was never really, for me, it didn't work. I know they house Sid Barrett as being, you know, this, oh Christ, this changed music and that genre forever. I don't agree with that at all, because they were doing great stuff, Relics, blah, 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 you know. But it didn't happen for me until Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon, for me, is my all-time favourite album. There will never be a better one. And I think every bar musically should be set as, if I can get the Dark Side of the Moon or even sniff it, I'm getting close to great genius. That's what I think.
One right at the back.
Nick, what was your journey into photography like? Was it like a sudden epiphany and you're like, I want to do that? Or was it like a gradual process?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't gradual, really. It was something that me and my brother, who's in the audience, we were always lucky that we always knew what we wanted to do. My brother's a car man. He's always been in cars right from day one. You know, he has a race team. My nephew, he races, he's the driver. My brother had always followed that, and me, I'd always followed photography and the arts. It's always been the same, from being small. And the kind of defining moment was when I was about 8 years old. Dad gave me my first camera, which was a Kodak Brownie that was Dad's, and he handed it down. And you know, we used to go and do animal pictures, and there was a horse field not too far from where we lived, so we'd walk up to the horse field, me and Dad, we'd take some pictures and go back home, and then in our home dark room we'd dev them up, print them up. You know, it was all Mickey Mouse, but it was life-changing at the time, and it was also a foundation for me. Yeah, I owe it to my dad, there's no question about it. But at 51, which is where me and my brother, you know, was our family home, photography was a big gig, a big gig.
Is there a difference in the way you would approach, for example, photographing a person?
Yeah.
Would it, if you were photographing the same object, would there be a different way that you would approach subjects?
No, not really. If I'd got carte blanche to do what I wanted to do, going back to the statement earlier on, it's not about the subject. It could be a vase of flowers, but you could make that vase of flowers look just as good as an afternoon with Kate Moss. You know, it's about the image. It's never about the subject, never. Hopefully that answers your question, Andy.
Thank you.
So I had a couple of questions. I've got one question for the two of you.
Yep.
And I wanted to know about the dynamic of your relationship as you're working and to which extent you influence one another and how you maybe work with one another, because you obviously have very contrasting personality. You're kind of the dry,
No, my personality is much better than Nick's. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm just lost, don't I? Just totally lost.
Sorry.
So I just wanted to know how you found working together and how you inspire each other, perhaps maybe make each other do certain things. Bring
That's
out
a
the
nice
best
question.
in-
Very good question.
I'll let Andy answer that.
I find it really difficult to work with Nick. I find it a pain in the arse.
I think they're looking for a serious answer.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, well.
It's we are very different. Yeah, obviously we dress very different. We work very different. Our characters, in terms of our outlook on life, I think is quite similar.
Yeah.
I think we're both nice people. You know, we feel those emotions and those passions and things like that, but just in a different way. But I think we recognise that in each other, and I think we just enjoy what we do. We don't. I certainly don't. I don't take things too seriously. I do, but I don't. If that makes sense. And I think Nick's very similar like that. And I think because we are so different, it works. It works.
We have a laugh as well, don't we? We have a damn good laugh.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
I bet you do.
And-
You know, we giggle.
Well, I mean, we did this TV pilot, didn't we? Called Two Go Mad in Norfolk, which is basically a ludicrous idea that I came up with, of these two people just kind of touring around Norfolk in Andy's motorhome, but highly influenced by, you know, the Pythons, the 70s comedy, Two Ronnies, Lightly Lads, that kind of stuff, Faulty Towers, you know, all these things again that have made such an impact on my life. And I said, why don't we do that? So we did 3 trailers, didn't we? 3 pilots, which was a complete riot of just 2 geezers acting bloody tosspots, you know, and we shot it. And we've got 3 pilots. So the chemistry that we have is really good. Plus the fact that I'll say this now, you can rely on this guy. You know, you can rely on him. And when we've worked, because he's assisted me many times when we've done still stuff, you know, and vice versa when we've done VTs, you know, it just works, and you know, the guy's there, and it just marries up, doesn't it, man? You
No, I'm
know?
not marrying you now.
Okay. It's the best offer you'll get.
Not looking like that. I'm not marrying you.
And just visually, in terms of your images, because I find it quite striking, the balance of light and dark, and actually somebody brings it up in the film as well. One of the people that you're shooting is mentioning about that, and to me it reminded me of actually Rembrandt's interior prints, of which there are about 100 in the Norwich Castle
Yeah.
in their collection. So I wondered, who are your inspirations visually, and whether they are artists who are painters or contemporary artists, or whether they are photographic artists, or you know, what medium do they work in, and do you have any sort of heroes visually?
Musically, it would be Pink Floyd, without a doubt, because again, Dark Side of the Moon changed my life. It takes from even the first time I heard it in 1972, when I biked down in the rain to buy it and stood there outside till they opened the shop. You know, that every time I listen to Dark Side of the Moon, it takes me mentally, emotionally, passionately, spiritually into another place. It's that powerful. If you're talking photographically, Bailey. Every day of the work, Bailey. Because Bailey, he took it away from this kind of Cecil Beaton stuff, you know, and Bailey said, you can fuck off. I'm going to shoot what I want to shoot. And that, because again, going back to the subject of attitude, Bailey had one. He's still got one. Unfortunately, he's an old guy. But in the days of, you know, his kind of Gene Shrimpton and that kind of period, Bailey changed it. He moved the whole thing, fashion photography, artistically and commercially, into another place. So it would be Bailey, outside my dad.
When you said you didn't give a shit more about it, you just couldn't go out and do it,
Yeah.
did your OCD stay the same as it did in the video?
Yes. Yeah, the OCD has probably got worse. I'm now totally insane when it comes to that. You know, so put your fucking cups away before I come down. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, the OCD has become more of an obsession. I mean, again, I struggle to find people that accept that. And, you know, you've got to turn to my partner, the lovely Bernice, who understands totally where that is, which is one of the things that makes it work. But when I say that I don't care, and I don't, what that means is that I don't care what people think I should be doing, creatively, artistically.
I was
So,
wondering if that brought the OCD on more from
it probably has. I don't know. You know, I've always been gaga. It's as simple as that. And to me, is it a lifestyle or is it an illness? I don't know. For me, it's a lifestyle. You know.
Are you in a good place now?
I'm in a far better place. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that is down to, you know, fantastic friends which I have, people who are very close. Outside Bernice, obviously, there's Annie Brooks, you know, there's Raffaella, who couldn't be here tonight. She's my Italian PA. And of course, there's my best friend, Lindsay Barn. You know, they don't come any better than Lindsay Barn. So I've got, I call him Jimmy, but it's James Herford. He's in the audience. And I mean, me and Jimmy have known each other for over 50 years. All my friends are that kind of, you know, quality. And that, without a doubt, has got me through. Without a shadow of a doubt, has got me through.
Do you still have that enthusiasm that your art develops constantly? Are you still, you know, is there ever a time when you plateaued, or is it that drive always there?
Always there. I'm hungrier now, I think, than I've ever been. Basically, because I'm running out of time, you know. And
Stop smoking.
well, okay. But I'm running out of time, you know, and I think this again is something that I realised when I lost my poor mum, because as you know, yeah, my mum was 64. There was no sign of what actually happened that led up to her passing, and then suddenly us as a family found ourselves, you know, staring at mum was poorly, big time poorly, and you know, they said to us that this is what it is. They did the necessary surgery and all this kind of shit, you know, but we never kind of dreamt that it was without mum. No.
It happened so quickly.
Yeah, they actually predicted, they gave her 12 months, well, she didn't last 12 weeks.
Nick, I said on the film about you were an incredible drawer, and for me, the forerunner of what you create on film, you used to create on a sheet of paper, something I could never do. Do you ever pick the pen up now
I have done.
and draw?
I have done, not a lot. It was something that me and Ben had mentioned, hadn't it, about I was thinking about getting back into it, you know. But to be honest, guys, I haven't really had the time. Although I often look at things and think, oh yeah, I fancy a bit of that. I've got all the gear,
It's really
you know.
therapeutic, mate.
Yeah, it is.
As you know.
Yeah, I'm probably not in your league, Sid. But you know, if you remember, I used to do a lot of war, didn't we? We used to sketch a lot of war and landscapes and stuff like that.
Underwater as well.
Yeah, I used to do a bit of that as well. But that really was dreams. That was just kind of a transition from what I thought in my head was exciting. Certainly, you know, aircraft and that used to draw a lot. and that was really again influenced by Dad because he was in the RAF, and we did a lot of modelling and stuff. You know, Airfix models was massively big in our house. So it was just a kind of transition, really. But no, I don't do that much, Gaz, to be honest, not now. When I become more old and infirm, I might well look at it.
That-
You know, I could probably swing a pencil.
You were going to ask the same question, were you?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that-
was going to ask exactly the same question.
That leads me on to my question then, Gaz. Okay. What does the future hold? What
Good.
little have you got left?
Good. I no. I mean, little left. No, I've got shitloads. Shitloads. Again, I think that's kind of, if I'm honest, depicted very much by fate, Jesus, and now my mum and dad, who heavily influenced my life, I do believe. But I've got so many concepts for the dark art stuff in my head. My end goal is a placement in Tate Modern, Photography's Gallery, V&A. That's where I want to go. Because it's before the co-op bang on my door, I need to move the line and make an art. You know, that's what I need to do. I want, you know, if you sat here in this room and I croaked it, it was all over, you know, looking at my work, I'd like to think that that's a Nick Elliott. He shot that.